Okay, so I'm going to start with some pretty basic extraction. So this is um, an extract line feature. So under our point cloud tab, we have extract line feature. And then I'm going to start with lane line markings. So basically I'm just going to extract, it can be a solid, it can be a dashed, just any, linear striping mark. So I've selected the right layer because we're actually creating a polyline. So we're going to be exporting this, as well. You guys are going to Bentley. We'll see about the actual export formats, but the big thing is we're creating line work on the correct layer. And then the lane line type, this is going to be a solid single because I'm doing this kind of lane line. And I'm going to assume on your layers here. And then it needs a starting point. So click on what you think is the center. You can see now it's highlighting what it thinks this road lane line markings are. And we can also switch directions if it was going the wrong way, but I am going the right direction. And then we have these intensity thresholds, which you can move the slider bar around, because what you don't want is what I just did. You want that contrast, just so it can pick out somewhere in there, so it knows the difference between asphalt and the actual lane line striping itself. It's going to default to a 2 meter interval. You can go further, you can go shorter. If you have like long straightaway sections, you could easily bump that interval up just so it doesn't stop every 2 meters. Maybe it was every 5 meters. So if you had a lot of lane line striping, you can do it much quicker that way. Or if it has something, if it has lots of curves to it, turns, things like that, you probably want a little bit shorter interval. I'm just going to leave it at the default. You can also have it create nodes during this extraction. So that node could then essentially be a survey point if you wanted to. But since we're creating the line work directly inside Trimble Business Center, I'm not going to create that line node. And then it's going to get, when it gets to a point where it can't figure out where to go, it's going to stop. And then we're just going to basically update. So maybe it's on a big curve and we have to, our interval went over that curve, we might have to update it. So I'll show you that when we get there. So I'm going to hit extract, and it's going to go through the software. So it's extracting those 2 meter segments until it needs some type of an update, or maybe the lane line marking is washed out or gone. We might have to kind of skip over, interpolate over that section. So this is a great way to to extract a lot of data really fast. And once it finishes here, I'll zoom out. So it's already collected 145 segments. You can see the time savings. So right there was a little bump in the actual trajectory. So I'm gonna undo that last segment. I'm actually gonna update that. I'm just gonna manually, because it's getting confused here, gonna manually select. So it's gonna add that segment. I'm going to add that segment, and I'm going to extract again. So depending on how well your, what the condition of the lane line marking is, that's going to dictate how how much it stops here. This little section looks like there's kind of two lines here. So I'm going to do a manual selection there, and then maybe I'll just go up there. So that's essentially the end of our striping. I'm going to add those segments. And then, to me, that's done. I don't see any other lane line there. So it's going on the correct layer. And then you can go over to this post QA and QC. Maybe you wanted, so you can smooth the line out if you want. You can make it a smooth curve, because right now we just have 2 meter sections that are all connected together. Maybe I'll go to a smooth curve. That one's totally up to you guys. I don't have to name it because the line work's going on the correct layer. Can add that. So there's my lane line. And I'll give you one more example of a so we have a dash line in here. Go back to the beginning of this. But you can see, you know, it collected that in, what, 30 seconds? Go back to where this starts. I'm going to start here. So it's asking for first dash and then second dash. Turn my no, it really likes to be in grayscale. Forgot about that. Oopsie. There's my second dash. Way up here. Hard to see. So it's looking for that interval. So it has the first dash here, the second dash. So it's going to pretty much take that interval and look for these other dashed lines. I need to make sure you can do this after. I'm assuming this is a skip yellow lane line. And this is dashed. First one, second one shows us the direction. I'm going to extract here. Take this a little bit longer because it has to figure out that interval every single time. It's going to go the whole way. Amazing. Okay, so it went the whole way, our whole section of road there. So it's on the correct layer. I'm going to create line. Okay, so we have our dash marks in there. And then we did this other single, turn back over to, so we have our dashed here and then our single. So what I'm going to do is stop this video, and I'm going to do some additional extraction for the lane line markings, and then I'm going to move on to the next type of extraction.